Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Yeah, North Carolina has hired Bill Belichick. I wasn't sure this was going to happen, but it certainly has. And they're definitely ready to party down there. You can tell Bill's excited. Ryan Day has gotten the vote of confidence. Is it the dreaded vote of confidence or the real thing? I'm going to let you hear it yourself. And Kentucky, it's very sad in Kentucky land. And we're going to talk about that as well. All right, let's start out with Bill Belichick. Now, originally, it was reported that he signed a 3-year deal worth $30 million, which was kind of a short contract. Now we're hearing that it might be a 5-year, $50 million contract, that they had agreed to up the NIL from $4 million for football up to $20 million. Now, my question on that is this. Is that NIL going to be the $20 million, or are they going to spend $20 million out of their budget? Because as you know, the NCAA has agreed or is agreeing to a settlement over all those class action lawsuits, and schools can spend up to $21.5, $22 million a year out of their budget as far as revenue sharing. Now, is this in response of that? Is it replacing that? We don't know, but they've doubled the pay of the head coach. Mack made $5 million. Belichick's making $10 million. And again, they're increasing the NIL, which I'm sure Coach Mack is really appreciative that they've come in there and done that. All of a sudden, they found their checkbook. So I'm sure Coach Mack is like, you got to be kidding me. Where was all this support when I was there? Well, it's because you're too old, Coach. You're 73 years old. They needed a young, inspiring coach. So they brought in Belichick, who's 72. Anyway, a lot of people had said that he had burned bridges at the NFL, and there's lots of reports about that, which he may have. Look, this is a very grumpy dude. When he shows up at North Carolina, it's probably going to be a lot like this.
Rise, my friend.
The Death Star will be completed on schedule.
You've done well, Lord Vader.
Oh, yeah. The hooded one will be showing up to North Carolina with a very inspirational mindset. But look, if you're a North Carolina fan, you should be excited. You really should, because y'all been kind of in the doldrums for a while. You've had a few good years there, but nothing outstanding. Now you're going to have a coach with a big name. You're going to spend more money in NIL, certainly quite a bit more than you have in the past. And you've got some big dogs backing you there at the school, obviously. I don't think Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director, is probably too fired up about this based on everything that I've reported about him in the past, but I don't think this was his call. I think there were some higher ups with big money that were in charge of this and handled it. So Cunningham's just going to have to go along for the ride. Things are going to get bumpy, and I'd say Belichick will just do whatever the crap he wants. But again, if you're a North Carolina fan, you don't care about any of that crap. You just want to see a good product on the field. You want to win ball games, get in the playoff maybe, and enjoy your sports. So you should be excited. I have no problem with that. The people behind the scenes at North Carolina used to doing it a certain way, they are in for a very rude awakening. When Emperor Palpatine shows up, things are not going to be the way they've been every day. So it should be fun to watch. And as a YouTube content creator, there's going to be plenty to report on this stuff. There's going to be just continual changes all throughout college sports as college football turns into this whole revenue sharing thing. It's going to be more NFL level, kind of, NFL light. Anyway, we'll keep you abreast of it. Now let's talk about Kentucky. Man, Kentucky, geez. There is a lot of sadness in Kentucky land right now. And I've been keeping up with Kentucky Sports Radio because, if you want to know what's going on with the Kentucky football, normally on YouTube, that's where you go. And I've watched these guys. They've been doing portal news is about it. And there's no excitement. They're down about it. They've had like 18 guys enter the portal, and it's kind of been a mass exodus. And especially if we see Gavin Wimsatt has already entered. He was their backup quarterback. And there's a lot of questions as to whether or not Brock Vandergriff will enter. I would expect he would be, because my understanding is Cutter Boley is going to be the starting quarterback, and that's who they're going with. He'll be a sophomore or a redshirt freshman. And he was a big-time recruit. If you'll remember, Tennessee fans, we were recruiting him as well, and it was either going to be George McIntyre, Cutter Boley, and, of course, we had Deuce Knight, all three of which wanted to come to Tennessee. And Cutter realized, they're focusing in on George McIntyre. So he wound up going with Kentucky. He advanced one class, so he came in early. That's why he's going to be a redshirt freshman, even though he was in the same class as McIntyre and Knight. And some of these guys in the portal, Fearbry was a guy they were really wanting to keep. Dane Key is a killer. That's an absolute killer there. That guy's a great athlete, wide receiver, speed. Their best wide receiver, he's gone. Looks like he's possibly going to Georgia, which is what Georgia likes to do because they can't recruit wide receivers for some reason down there. The running back, Chip Trainin, I can't pronounce his last name. Anyway, he was a guy that was supposed to be a good running back for him, but I believe he had a hand problem. Barrion Brown, super fast wide receiver, fastest guy on the team. Looks like he's going to visit LSU. So as you can see, it's basically an entire class is transferring out. And I believe I had that count right, 18 since the fourth. And they're getting ready to really look at Mark Stoops, how much he cost, how much success they've had and all that. And there's an article in Wildcat Blue Nation that talks all about that. They're talking about a return on investment, said it's abysmal. Look inside the numbers. This is kind of interesting. Here's all the coaching salaries and value per win. And Mark Stoops makes $9 million a year. He's ninth paid as far as on the list. Now there's 3 or 4 guys at $9 million even, so he's just slightly above them. Josh Heupel, Eli, and Lane Kiffin. But he's in the top 10 of best paid. And it talks about him not only being the 9th highest paid coach, but his career record being 67-73 in the 12 seasons. Cost per win is $2.25 million in 2024. Now, granted, that's like the worst season he's had, which is 4-8. So, you're coming off a really bad season. Talks about how beating Louisville was the thing that always saved Mark Stoops, and they got whooped bad this year. And that's another reason why it's so disheartened in the state of Kentucky over this, because now they don't have bragging rights in state. And anytime you lose an in-state rival game, it's just awful. And especially Kentucky, who has kind of been the big dog. Well, they're the big dog in the state. And having Louisville whoop up on them, that stinks for them. It really does. And here's the other head coaches' records. Lane Kiffin's done really well at Ole Miss, 104-52. Brian Kelly, 291-107, but that's, his entire record. Eli Drinkwitz, I think, has done a great job at Missouri, 49-25. Now, without Brady Cook, we'll see. But Josh Heupel, 65-22, has done a fantastic job. And this is pretty interesting. Here's your top 10 most watched teams in 2024. Georgia's number 1, then Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee. And by the way, ESPN Game Day is going to be at the Ohio State-Tennessee game. Imagine that. You've got 2 teams in the top 5 most popular when it comes to viewing, playing. So everybody's going to watch that game at 8 o'clock. That's why they got the premier spot at 8. Look, when you're popular, you're popular.
I'm so popular. Everybody loves me so much.
It's just the way it is. So needless to say, there's not a lot of joy in Mudville up there. And Kentucky Sports Radio, like I say, I try to keep up with them. And they're kind of like this when they're doing their videos. Yeah, even Nick Roush, Nick wears his motions on his sleeve. A lot of those guys at Kentucky Sports Radio do. That's one of the reasons why I really like their show. You feel like you're hearing from a regular person. They're not up there with the tie and the suit and all that. They're just regular guys talking sports. It's very entertaining, actually. But anyway, you can just tell as they want to talk basketball. That's the only thing they really want to talk about right now. They've got Mark Pope, who is their head coach. They're all excited about that. They're looking great. He did a really good job in the transfer portal. And this guy's fired up to be a Kentucky basketball coach, for sure.
C-A-T-S! Cats! I love you guys.
So anyway, that's pretty much what they're focusing on. And when they cover football, it's just like, yeah, we're going to go over the portal. Yeah, and we've lost all these guys, and maybe we'll pick up some guys, and it's just great. Anyway, it's tough, man. It's tough covering a team that's struggling like that. Mark Stoops, you're kind of stuck with him because you owe him so much money. I don't know. He's going to have to turn it around, and it's going to be rough next year. If he has a bad year next year, it's going to get loud. So we'll see. He may work out some sort of an exit deal. He's getting pretty much up there, and I don't think he was planning on coaching a long time. He probably wasn't planning on finishing out that contract anyway. That's one of the reasons he didn't take the Texas A&M job. And, of course, A&M said they, pulled away and didn't want to actually hire him at the end. That may have led to this demise because maybe the players were like, oh, he almost left us. I don't know. The way college football is now, that may not have been a factor, but it might have. Now let's talk about Ryan Day. You want to talk about coaches that are kind of on the hot seat, but he just got a vote of confidence from his athletic director. Now, usually that's the kiss of death. And, of course, Ohio State losing to Michigan 4 times. We've talked all about that. It's been pretty devastating. But let's see what his athletic director's saying and the vote of confidence.
How confident are you that regardless of what happens in the CFP, Ryan Day's on the sideline?
Coach Day and I have just hit it off so well. I've been really, really impressed. Every single time I talk to him, I learn something. He's innovative. He recruits at the highest level. He's got a great staff. There was tweaks after last year, right? You're always going to tweak things. You're always going to make adjustments. You're always going to make improvements. If you get fixated on the end result and not have the process fully baked every time, you're gonna lose. The mindset's going to lose because you're only fixated on one thing. And so what we have to do is this whole championship or bust sort of mentality. You want that as a goal, but it has to be about the process. To me, we've got to maybe change some conversations a little bit. I think we need to maybe just approach things a little bit differently. Coach Day is awesome. He's great to work with. He totally gets it. He loves being a Buckeye. And so we're going to support him at the highest level. Here's the thing, too. We're still breathing. Like, the season's not over. We've got to have confidence. But we also have to make sure we stay to our values and we stick to what we believe in. And so, to me, it's the process as much as it is about the end result. And if the process is right, the end result will take care of itself.
Yeah, so he seems pretty fired up on him. He definitely doesn't want to fire him or try to pressure him out, which I can understand. I mean, if you're an athletic director, the numbers matter. You know, he's winning a lot of games. He's not winning the big games. And that puts a lot of pressure on a coach at a place like Ohio State where, you know, Urban Meyer kind of spoiled him a little bit there for a while, and they're used to winning anyway. So I really think it's about the Michigan game. I think that's just a killer. And they got to play at Michigan next year. I was actually looking at their schedule, and as you can see right here, they start off playing Texas, which I got to give them some credit because, man, I'm going to tell you right now, starting out the season against Texas is not an easy thing. That's one of the top SEC schools, and they actually spend more money in NIL than Ohio State. They're the only team that does. Now, I'm thinking I know where they get that money from.
Haven't you noticed? You got to be a man to play in my league.
Yeah, I think oil might have a little something to do with it. But anyway, Ohio State, they put in the money too, big time. And then it gets pretty easy after that. Grambling, Ohio, at Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, all those will be easy wins. Penn State, that'll be a tough game. At Purdue, that's a gift. UCLA, Rutgers, no concern there at all. So they've got Texas, Penn State, Michigan. So they got 3 tough games next year, and the other 9 will be easy. They'll win, though. They'll have those games over with by the third quarter, and they can rest their starters, which is one of the great things about being a top dog in the Big Ten is you can rest your starters in the second half a lot. And you can also get your backup players out there and get them a bunch of experience and get them game time, which is worth a lot more than practice time, in my opinion. Yeah, and I don't think the Wolverines are too sad about him getting a vote of confidence.
What? What an idiot. Oh, what a loser.
Yeah, I don't think they're too sad about that. And oh, God, I probably shouldn't even have shown that. It's going to make the Ohio State folks mad. But it's just so weird to watch a team that's winning at 87% get so upset. But on the other hand, I do get it. Michigan is very irritating, and they're doing this kind of crap all over social media. And it's just rivalries like this are on such a high level. It's like we don't have one at Tennessee that's to this level. This one reminds me of Auburn, Alabama, Clemson, South Carolina, Florida, Florida State, those types because they're in-state. This is not in-state. It's just there's just something about Ohio State and Michigan. There is a lot of venom and vitriol in that's just they do not like each other. So having them crowing for 4 years and another 12 months of listening to their crap till they finally play them again. They got to go to Michigan this next time. So we'll see what happens next Saturday when we play them at 8 o'clock. That's going to be, man, everybody's talking about this. And the Vols are trying to get as many tickets as they can. They're trying to buy them from the Michigan people. We travel so good. God, we do. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit this little button right here. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here's the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.